The dying princess no one could save. The Dragon Kingdom had not slept for 7 nights. High above the black stone mountains, the royal palace burned with constant light. Torches lined every hall. Magic crystals glowed day and night. Servants ran without rest. Guards whispered prayers they no longer believed in. At the center of the palace, in the tallest tower, lay the Dragon Princess. She was dying. The princess was young, but her presence once filled the skies. When she was born, the clouds burned red with fire. Dragons bowed the moment she opened her eyes. The kingdom believed she would one day rule not just with strength, but with wisdom. Now she could barely lift her head. Her scales, once bright like gold, had turned dull and cold. Her breathing was slow and painful. Sometimes fire escaped her mouth by accident, weak and broken like dying sparks. No one understood why. The best dragon healers were called first. They placed their claws on her chest and spoke ancient words. Fire magic burned around the bed, warm enough to melt stone. The princess screamed. The magic did not heal her. It made her pain worse. Next came doctors from other worlds. Tall ones, short ones, some with metal bodies, some with glowing eyes. They brought machines that hummed and lights that scanned her body. They injected glowing liquids and placed strange masks over her face. Nothing worked. Every test showed the same result. She is healthy, they said, but she is dying. The Dragon King stood beside the bed, his massive wings folded tight. He had ruled for 1,000 years. He had faced wars, monsters, and the death of empires. But he could not save his daughter. At night, the princess cried, not from pain alone, from fear. Do not turn off the lights, she begged. Please do not let it get dark. The servants thought it was just a nightmare. The healers said her mind was breaking. But the princess kept saying the same thing. Something is here. It watches me. It waits when I sleep. No one saw anything. No shadow moved. No magic reacted. So they ignored her words. All except one. A human servant cleaned the princess's room every day. He was small compared to the dragons. Weak, quiet, easy to forget. He had been brought to the palace years ago as part of a trade agreement. No one expected much from him, and no one ever asked for his opinion. He swept the floor. He changed the sheets. He cleaned the broken cups beside the bed. And he watched. The human noticed things others did not. He noticed the princess never slept unless the lights were on. He noticed her eyes followed something that was not there. He noticed her claws scratch the floor every night near the bed. And most of all, he noticed she never allowed anyone to look under her bed. Servants tried once. The princess screamed so loudly the windows cracked. Do not touch it, she cried. Do not look there. After that, the Dragon King ordered everyone to stay away from that side of the room. The human did not argue. He only remembered. On the 7th night, the healers failed again. The Dragon King finally stepped back, his voice broken. There is nothing more we can do. The room slowly emptied. Doctors left in silence. Guards lowered their heads. Only the princess and the human servant remained. The princess was half asleep, shaking. Her voice was weak. It is closer now, she whispered. The human stopped cleaning. He looked at the bed. Slowly, carefully, he knelt down. The air felt colder near the floor. The torchlight did not reach beneath the bed. The human hesitated. Every instinct told him to stand up and leave. Humans were good at surviving because they knew fear. But humans were also curious. And sometimes curiosity saved lives. He leaned forward and looked under the bed. The darkness moved, not like a shadow, like something hiding inside one. Two pale eyes opened in the dark, and a voice, thin and cold, whispered from beneath the princess's bed. Humans should not look here. What lived beneath the bed? The human servant did not scream. He should have. Any sane creature would have. But humans had learned long ago that fear could keep you alive or kill you if you let it control you. The pale eyes beneath the bed did not blink. They were not dragon eyes. They were not alive in any way the human understood. They watched. The air grew heavy, like the room itself was holding its breath. Humans should not look here, the voice whispered again. It did not come from a mouth. It came from everywhere at once. The human slowly stood up. He did not run. He did not shout for guards. He looked at the princess. She was shaking violently now, her claws digging into the sheets. Her eyes were wide, filled with terror. "It talks to me," she whispered. "All night. Every night." The human felt something cold crawl across his spine. He had heard stories like this before. Not in books of magic, not in royal records, but in old human stories told in quiet voices. Stories about things that did not attack with teeth or fire, but with fear. "Do not answer it," the human said softly. The shadow beneath the bed shifted. The darkness stretched unnaturally, reaching toward the torchlight, but never touching it. "Leave," the voice hissed. "This one belongs to me." The human swallowed. "You are hurting her," he said. A thin sound echoed in the room. Laughter. "She feeds me," the thing replied. "Her fear is sweet. Her power makes it rich." The human understood then. Dragon magic was not healing her. It was feeding the thing. Every spell, every flame, every ancient word only made it stronger. That was why nothing worked. The human backed away slowly until he reached the wall. "Close your eyes," he told the princess, "and listen to my voice." She obeyed instantly. No dragon healer had ever spoken to her like that. The shadow reacted. "No," it said sharply. "Do not teach her calm." The temperature dropped. Frost formed on the stone floor. The torches flickered. The human felt pressure in his head, like invisible claws pressing into his thoughts. Images flashed in his mind. Dark places, endless falling, whispers telling him he was weak, small, useless. He clenched his fists. Humans were familiar with such thoughts. They lived with them. "You are nothing," the voice whispered directly into his mind. "She will die, and you will be forgotten." The human took a slow breath. "No," he said. The word was quiet, but it landed like a stone. "I may be weak," he continued, "but I see you." The shadow recoiled. Just slightly. No one had ever said that to it before. The human stepped forward again. "What are you?" he asked. The thing hesitated. That alone told him everything. Creatures like this thrived on being unknown. "I'm older than your kind," it said finally. "I hide where pride sleeps." "Under her bed?" the human asked. Another thin laugh. "Where she feels safest," it replied, "and most afraid to look." The human glanced around the room. He noticed something strange. The bed was covered in protective runes. The walls were carved with ancient spells. Magic filled every corner. But beneath the bed, nothing. No protection. No light. Only shadow. That was not an accident. The human straightened. "I will come back," he said calmly. The thing hissed. "You will not." The human turned toward the door. Behind him, the princess cried out. The shadow surged upward, wrapping around her like smoke. Her breathing became fast and painful. The human spun back. "Stop," he said sharply. The creature paused. "You dare command me?" it whispered. "Yes," the human replied. He stepped closer to the bed again. "You fear something," he said. "That is why you hide. That is why you whisper instead of attack." The shadow trembled. The creature did not deny it. The human reached the door and opened it. Guards rushed in, weapons drawn, flames ready. "Get the king," the human ordered. The guards froze. No one spoke to them like that. But something in the human's voice made them move. As they left, the shadow whispered one last time. "If you return, you will not leave." The human looked beneath the bed once more. "We will see," he said. He closed the door behind him. Outside, the Dragon King waited. "What did you see?" the king asked. The human met his eyes. "A monster your magic cannot touch," he said, "but one that fears being seen." Inside the room, beneath the bed, the shadow curled tighter. For the first time in centuries, it felt afraid. The thing that feared a human mind. The Dragon King did not believe the human. Not fully. He had lived for 1,000 years. He had seen monsters born from stars and gods die screaming. The idea that something could hide inside his own palace, inside his daughter's room, without dragon magic sensing it, it felt impossible. Yet the princess was still dying. And for the first time in days, she had slept. Only for a few minutes, but she had slept. That alone forced the Dragon King to listen. "What do you need?" the king asked. The human servant stood straight, even with wings and claws surrounding him. "Time," he said, "and permission." The The king narrowed his eyes. To do what? To treat this like a human problem, the servant replied. The healers murmured in anger. This is dragon magic, one shouted. You cannot fix it with tricks. The human did not argue. Every time you use power, he said calmly, it feeds the thing. That silence hurt more than any insult. The Dragon King raised a claw. Explain. The human took a breath. It lives in fear, he said, but not normal fear. It feeds on fear mixed with pride. The stronger the victim, the richer the fear. He looked toward the tower. Your daughter is powerful. That makes her a perfect meal. The healers looked uneasy. The king's voice dropped. And humans? The servant met his gaze. Humans are afraid all the time, he said. We learned how to live with it. The Dragon King ordered the room cleared. Only the king, the princess, and the human returned to the tower that night. The healers protested. The guards tightened their grip on their weapons. The human carried no magic items. Only 3 small things. A cracked hand mirror. A simple bell. White chalk. The princess watched him with tired eyes. It is angry, she whispered. It knows you are coming. That's good, the human said softly. Anger makes mistakes. The moment the door closed, the air grew cold again. The torches dimmed. The shadow beneath the bed moved, faster this time. You came back, it whispered. How brave. How predictable, the human replied. He drew a wide circle on the floor with chalk, slow and careful. The shadow laughed. You think lines can stop me? No, the human said, but they remind me where I stand. The creature paused. The human rang the bell. The sound was soft but sharp. The shadow screamed, not loudly, in pain. The princess gasped as the dark smoke pulled away from her chest. What did you do? The creature hissed. I made noise, the human said. You like silence. You hide in it. The mirror came next. The human angled it under the bed. The shadow twisted violently. Do not show me myself. The human's voice hardened. You exist because no one looked. The Dragon King stepped forward in shock. The shadow lashed out. The bed cracked. Stone shattered. Dark claws burst from beneath, reaching for the human's face. The king raised his flame. No, the human shouted. The king stopped. The claws froze inches from his servant's throat. The human did not move. You cannot touch me, he said. You need fear. He stepped forward. I'm afraid, he continued, but I'm still here. The shadow shrank. For the first time, it truly understood the danger. Humans did not remove fear. They walked with it. You don't belong here, the human said. You hide under beds because you cannot survive in the open. The creature roared. The room shook, but did not attack. It retreated deeper into the darkness. The princess breathed easier. Her color slowly returned. The human backed away, sweat running down his face. This is not over, he said to the king. I heard it, but now it knows me. The Dragon King stared at the human servant. You faced it without magic, he said slowly, and lived. The servant nodded. It will come for me next. The shadow whispered one final threat from beneath the broken bed. I will peel your courage apart. The human met the darkness with tired eyes. You can try. Outside the tower, the Dragon King made a decision that would change history. From this moment, he declared, this human is under my protection. The shadow curled tight in the darkness, because now it was being hunted. When the monster fought back, the shadow did not attack that night. That scared the human more than anything else. Creatures that rushed were simple. Creatures that waited were smart. The princess slept for hours after the human left the room. Real sleep, deep and quiet. The Dragon King sat beside her bed the entire night, afraid to even blink. For the first time in many days, hope entered the tower. But hope has a way of making monsters angry. The next morning, strange things began to happen. Servants felt watched in empty halls. Torches went out by themselves. Guards heard whispers calling their names. No shadow was seen. That was worse. The human servant felt it the moment he entered the palace. His steps slowed. His chest felt heavy, like the air was pressing down on him. The creature was learning. It could not feed on the princess anymore, not easily. So it looked for another source. The human. That night, the human returned to the tower alone. He had asked the Dragon King to stay away. If it sees power, he explained, it will hide again. The king did not like it, but he agreed. The room was silent when the human entered. Too silent. The princess slept peacefully, her breathing slow and steady. The bed was broken from the last night. The floor beneath it was cracked open, like something had clawed its way deeper inside the stone. The human stepped inside the chalk circle he had drawn earlier. Nothing happened. Then the whispers began. Not from the bed, from the walls. You are tired. You are weak. You cannot protect her. The human closed his eyes. These are not threats. They were truths twisted into weapons. He took a slow breath. I know, he said. The shadows crawled along the ceiling now, stretching long and thin. The creature's voice came from behind him. You show me pain, it hissed. Now I will show you loss. The princess screamed. The human turned just in time to see the shadow surge out from beneath the bed, wrapping around her like black chains. Her body lifted off the mattress. Her scales dimmed instantly. No, the human shouted. The creature laughed. You see, it whispered. She still fears. The human ran forward. The air crushed him like invisible hands. Every step felt heavy. The creature poured images into his mind. The princess dying. The dragon king burning him alive in blame. The shadow winning. The human fell to one knee. His hand shook. This time, fear was winning. The creature leaned close. You are nothing special, it whispered. You are just human. The human's breathing slowed. Yes, he said. The creature paused. Yes, it repeated. The human looked up. That's why this hurts you, he said. You expect strength, power, magic. He reached into his pocket with shaking fingers. And you do not understand endurance. He rang the bell again. The sound echoed sharply through the tower. The shadow screamed, not in pain this time, in rage. The princess dropped back onto the bed, gasping. The human dragged himself forward, placing the mirror directly beneath the shadow's core. The creature recoiled violently. Its shape flickered. You hide, the human said through clenched teeth. You whisper. You wait. He forced himself to stand. Humans face darkness every day, he continued. In our minds, in our lives. The creature lashed out, slamming him into the wall. The mirror shattered. Blood ran down the human's face. The shadow loomed over him. I will break you, it promised. The human laughed weakly. That's the problem, he said. You think breaking ends us. He stood again, barely. And you still don't see it. The shadow hesitated. The torches flared suddenly. The dragon king burst into the room, fire burning in his eyes. The creature shrieked and pulled back. The human raised a hand. Wait, he said. The king froze. The shadow retreated beneath the bed once more, but not before leaving a final mark. A thin black line appeared across the human's chest. The creature whispered, Next time, I won't miss. The room fell silent. The princess was alive, but the human collapsed to the floor. As guards rushed in, the dragon king knelt beside him. You faced it alone, the king said, voice heavy. The human smiled faintly. It's scare now, he whispered. That's when monsters make mistakes. Beneath the bed, the shadow shook, because it had tried to kill a human, and failed. The deal monsters offer before they die. The human servant woke up on the cold stone floor. His chest burned where the black mark lay, thin and sharp like a wound made of shadow. Every breath felt heavy, as if something was sitting on his lungs. The princess was alive. That was the first thing he checked. She lay quietly on the bed, her color slowly returning. The shadow was gone for now, but the room felt wrong. Too calm. The dragon king stood near the window, wings folded tight. His eyes were fixed on the human. It marked you, the king said. Yes, the human replied weakly. That means it can find me. The king's claws curled. Then we destroy it now. The human shook his head. It wants that, he said. If you attack with power, it will use me as a shield. The healers entered the room carefully. They tried to touch the black mark, but their magic failed. It slipped away like smoke. This is beyond us, one whispered. The human pushed himself upright. That's because it's not magic, he said. It's a promise. The lights dimmed. The temperature dropped. The shadow's voice filled the room without a shape. You learn quickly, little human. The Dragon King stepped forward, fire rising. Stop, the human said. The shadow laughed softly. Wise, it said. Very wise. The creature formed slowly near the ceiling, not fully solid. It looked thinner now, weaker, but still dangerous. You hurt me, it continued. You exposed me. The human nodded. And you marked me, he replied. So speak. The shadow circled above him. I offer you a deal, it said. The room went silent. The princess stirred uneasily, her brow tightening in sleep. Take her, the creature said. Take the princess's fear, her pain. The Dragon King roared. And I will leave this world, the shadow continued calmly. No more feeding, no more hiding. The human's hands clenched. And the cost, he asked. The shadow leaned closer. It whispered. I will take your fear instead. The healers gasped. The Dragon King took one step forward. I will burn you from existence. You can't, the creature interrupted. You need him alive. The human closed his eyes. He understood now. The creature could not defeat him easily. So try to own him. Humans knew this trick well. Monsters always offered deals when they were losing. What happens to me? The human asked quietly. The shadow smiled. You will live, it said. But slowly, every fear you feel will feed me. The human laughed. It surprised everyone. That's a terrible deal, he said. The shadow stiffened. You would say to princess and doom yourself? It asked. The human looked at the Dragon King, then at the sleeping princess. She is a child, he said simply. And I am human. He turned back to the creature. You misunderstand us, he continued. Fear is not new to us. The shadow narrowed its eyes. We feel fear every day, the human said. And we still get up. The creature's voice hardened. You cannot win, it said. You are tired, bleeding, marked. The human reached into his pocket. Slowly, carefully, he pulled out a small piece of paper, old, worn, folded many times. The shadow recoiled. What is that? A name, the human replied. The room shook. The shadow screamed. No, it hissed. You do not know that. I do, the human said. You hide in pride and fear. You were named before dragons learned fire. He stepped forward. The black mark burned painfully, but he did not stop. You are called. The shadow lunged. The Dragon King roared, flames exploding. Wait, the human shouted. The name was almost spoken. The creature froze mid-air, trembling violently. The room cracked with pressure. Say it. The creature whispered in terror. And you die with me. The human met its gaze. That's the second bad deal tonight, he said. He took a deep breath and spoke the true name. The shadow screamed, not in rage, in ending. Dark smoke tore itself apart, ripping from the walls, the floor, the bed. The black mark on the human's chest burned white-hot, then vanished. The room filled with light. Silence followed. The princess inhaled deeply. Her eyes opened, bright, clear, alive. The Dragon King fell to one knee. The human collapsed, but smiling. As guards rushed in, the king whispered, You chose death to save my daughter. The human shook his head weakly. No, he said, I chose humanity. Far below the palace, something ancient faded from existence, and the stars felt it. The day the kingdom bowed. The silence lasted a long time. No one spoke. No one moved. The broken room slowly stopped shaking. Dust floated through the air like soft snow. The torches burned steady again, warm and bright. The shadow was gone, completely. The dragon princess sat up in her bed. She was no longer weak. Her scales shone like molten gold, brighter than they had ever been before. Fire moved gently under her skin, calm and controlled. She took a deep breath and smiled. I can't hear it anymore, she said softly. It's quiet. The Dragon King's knees hit the floor. The sound echoed through the tower. 1,000-year-old ruler bowed his head before his daughter, then before a human servant lying broken on the stone floor. The healers froze in shock. No dragon bowed to a human, ever. Guards rushed forward to help the human, lifting him carefully. He was pale, barely awake, but alive. The black mark was gone. No trace of shadow remained. He should be dead, one healer whispered. The true name should have killed him. The dragon princess looked at the human. He stayed, she said. When he was afraid, he stayed. The human was taken to the inner chambers. Dragon medicine was poured into his wounds. Fire magic wrapped around him gently. Careful now, respectful. Outside the tower, the palace waited. When the doors opened, the Dragon King stepped out first. Behind him walked the princess, alive, strong, glowing. The crowd gasped. Cheers rose like thunder. But the Dragon King raised his claw for silence. Then he did something no one expected. He turned and bowed, not to the princess, to the human. This human, the king declared, voice echoing across the palace, stood where my power could not. Murmurs spread like fire. He faced a thing older than our magic, the king continued. And he did not run. The human tried to speak, but the princess stepped forward. She took his hand. Her touch was warm, steady. He listened to me, she said, when everyone else thought I was broken. The crowd fell silent again. The Dragon King straightened. From this day forward, he announced, this human is no servant. Gasps filled the air. He is a guardian of the crown. The human blinked in shock. I only cleaned floors, he said weakly. The princess smiled. And you cleaned the darkness from my life. The healers looked away in shame. They had used power. The human had used understanding. That night, fires burned across the Dragon Kingdom in celebration. But far beyond the mountains, the stars were restless. In distant systems, ancient beings stirred. Records updated themselves. Silent watchers marked a new warning. Humans, not strong, not ancient, but dangerous in a way no one had measured. Because humans did not fight darkness with power. They looked at it and named it. The human slept for 2 days. When he woke, the princess was there. You didn't have to do it, she said quietly. He smiled faintly. I did, he replied. Because someone had to. She studied him. What are humans taught? She asked. The human thought for a moment. That fear doesn't mean stop, he said. It means pay attention. The princess nodded slowly. Outside the room, the Dragon King watched. He understood now why humans survived on harsh worlds. Why they filled the stars despite being weak. They did not erase fear. They used it. As night fell, the princess looked out at the sky. Will more like it come? She asked. The human followed her gaze. Yes, he said, but now they know. She turned to him. Know what? He met her eyes, that were not afraid to look under the bed. Far away, in the dark between stars, something ancient whispered. Remember the human.